President Trump's second term is set to face its first electoral tests. This as an election is now taking place in Wisconsin, and it will determine the control of the state Supreme Court. And then you heard me make mention of those tariffs. Well, those are set to take place as early as tomorrow. Joining us now to discuss all of this and so much more, Mr. Armen Kurdian, political strategist back here on the Live Zone. Boy, is it a busy day, Mr. Kurdian.
Hey, you're gonna run me through the gauntlet today, Guy. Let's go.
So let's do it. We'll start off with one of the big stories. Later today, the Senate could issue a rare bipartisan rebuke of President Trump's policy as Democratic senators prepare to force a vote on blocking tariffs on Canadian imports. Now, this has the potential to stand. I should really make mention the resolution will not make any headway in the House, even if adopted by the Senate. Your thoughts on all of this, sir?
Well, speaking as somebody who has grown a taste for some really high quality Canadian maple syrup on my pancakes, obviously it'll hit my pocketbook too. I can tell you that a lot of Republicans, a lot of folks understand the tariffs on Mexico, the tariffs on China, and some of these other folks who've actually done, unfair trade practices or a lot of the issues that Mexico has failed to stop, such as the Tijuana sewage or stopping illegal immigration. When it comes to Canada, it's a little bit of a different story. And I do believe there is some appetite from Republicans to take a little bit of a pause and a step back, say, really, what are we trying to accomplish here? So I'm hopeful that actually that there may be a pause from the Senate on the Canadian tariffs, and that perhaps some back channels, you might get some House Republicans to say, Mr. President, is this really a good idea? Maybe we should take it up or take a pause on some of these tariffs, such as we've talked about lumber and housing, some of these things that really are going to hurt American pocketbooks. So we'll see what actually happens, but this might actually have a chance of passing.
Yeah, Mr. Kurdian, I should make mention any second now, and I see the staff beginning to make their way into the White House press room. We are expecting Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt to address the media. Tariffs will probably be top of mind. When that happens any minute, we're going to take you there to the White House. Real quick, and I want to make sure we get this in, and that is a big election underway in Wisconsin today. We know that according to recent data, total reported spending on that race just north of, get this, $90 million, with the final tally projected by some to be around $100 million. That's roughly double the previous record of $51 million set by another 2023 state Supreme Court race in Wisconsin. What does it say that so much money is now being spent?
The answer is in the question right there. Some media are going to say that if the Democrats win these elections, that it's a rebuke or a pushback on Donald Trump and his presidency and what he's trying to do. And I disagree with that. It's frankly a question of elections, especially special elections, midterm or elections that don't happen in November of the even years. The Democrats have done a really good job of raising money in all of these races, in the House races in Florida and in the Wisconsin Supreme Court race. One of the candidates, Republican candidates in Florida, has been outraised almost 10-1 in money. And frankly, that's a failure of his campaign, a failure of his fundraiser to actually go out there and recognize the urgency of what was happening on the other side. So it's really going to be a question of organization and turnout in terms of what comes out of these races. The impacts will be the same, but why they actually happen may not necessarily be because of what Donald Trump has done, but simply because of the ground game.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what unfolds yet again in the state of Wisconsin. Let's move to the state of Florida, the 6th congressional district to be exact, which President Donald Trump won by over 30 points last November. A defeat in this special election race to replace former Congressman and current White House National Security Advisor Michael Waltz, in essence, would send nervous Republicans into a full-blown panic. Do you agree, sir?
Well, I don't know if it necessarily be a full-blown panic, but it will be basically the National Republican Congressional Committee is going to be the one who might have to take the fall for this, for failing to prioritize this issue.